Hey there, Hofstra fans, and welcome inside the WB Mason Coaches Report here on GoHofstra.com. I'm your host, Julian Coultry, joined by the head coach of the Hofstra Pride Men's Lacrosse team, Seth Tierney. Coach, how's it going today?
Going well, Julian. Thanks.
Well, Coach, what it comes down to right now is get an opportunity to play a meaningful game at the end of the season. But before we get into that, we'll get into the contest that you had this past week against Towson, 12th ranked team in the country. A lot of things to get into, but you pull off the victory. You beat them by 7 goals, 9-2 the final.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm so proud of the guys and happy for the guys. And, you know, we had a spirited practice the week leading into Towson, where our backs were against the wall, and the guys stood up and they played very well. Everything, all the little games inside the game meant something. Ground balls and, you know, facing off and man up and man down, and, you know, certainly offense, defense, and, you know, please know we didn't play mistake-free lacrosse, but we did play hard and we were focused, and again, we played together. And that was a huge thing.
Yeah, let's talk about the one spot that really jumps out, because Chris Selva was named CAA Player of the Week. He had really just a great game down the stretch, but he wasn't the starter. He wound up coming in for the sub. For those that might have not been able to see the game, what was the decision to go with Jack Kincannon at first, and how did Selva wind up getting in the game, and how do you think he performed when he was in there?
Yeah, I mean, the decision goes back now a week and a half or so when we named Jack the starter for Cornell, and we knew that the Cornell game, you know, we went out and certainly wanted to win the Cornell game, but it was going to have no bearing on an at-large or not an at-large. We needed to focus on the CAA and those games. And we were just looking for a spark, and Jack has been playing well in practice, so we gave Jack a shot. And, you know, it didn't work out in the Cornell game, but we stayed with him. You know, after watching all the goals, we stayed with him. So Jack starts the Towson game, makes a save or two, you know, early in the game, does well, goes into the second quarter and faces a shot. You know, probably had a little heat on it, and as he's rolling behind the goal to clear the ball, he notices that a string breaks at the bottom that keeps the ball in the stick. And the ball just kind of just rolls out the bottom of the stick and calls over a defenseman, picks it up. Thankfully, Towson was in a deep ride, and we were able to clear the ball. Legally in lacrosse, you're allowed to send a stick on the field through the substitution box, and Chris Selva was standing there with his stick, said, "Jack, just take this." And Jack wasn't, you know, still wasn't sure he was going to be able to use Chris's stick, not to save the ball, but in the clearing situation. They have two differently strung sticks, and Jack was just unsure of it. So we pulled Jack out to let him fix his stick. We put Chris in, and in the time that Jack fixed his stick and Chris was in there, Chris had made, you know, 3 or 4 saves right away, and just we thought that he was seeing the ball, you know, and then you know, all the decisions were kind of there, and we stuck with Chris. You know, it was just a gut feeling he was seeing the ball, and it's not like Jack wasn't, but it just the feeling felt like, you know, let's stay with Chris. Ultimately, it worked out. You know, Jack Kincannon is still a terrific goalie. He's right there. We're very fortunate we have 2 good goalies, and Chris Selva played very, very well.
That's all you can ask for when you have 2 very good guys competing for the job. On the other side of the ball, we have the offense. You guys are able to put a 9 spot up on one of the best teams in the country. You mentioned Towson coming into last week was ranked number 12 in most of the polls. So what you get offensively, what you like?
Yeah, I mean, I thought we got some good looks. You know, again, their goalie has been playing very well. They've been pretty stingy on defense, only giving up 6-something goals a game. And we just said, listen, you know, we can't end possessions in ways that maybe we have in the past, or we just have to make sure if his guy's going to make a quality save, if Tyler White's going to make a quality save, that's one thing. But let's not just shoot it to shoot it. You know, let's just have the ball work for a better look. And you know, one thing led to another, and a couple guys stepped up, and you know, they were everywhere Mike Malave went, they were there. So you know, that's kind of took Mike out of it a little bit. But Corey Hendrickson having 2, and Sam having 4, you know, Trevor Kopecky stepping up, which is great, and we love that. And you know, Brian Davis having 1 man up. So Brian Von Borgen 2 assists. So we were happy with the output. Again, the end of the game, I think we had 2 in empty net goals. So you know, if you back that down to 7, that might be right around what Towson usually gives up. I think the story really is the other end of the field, only giving up 2 goals, and that's where Selva and the defense really stepped up.
Well, let's talk about the defense. You already mentioned Selva, but the defense, I think all year have put together great efforts against great teams, but sometimes you guys have gotten burned. And coming off of that game against Cornell, where top team in the country, they just pretty much blitz you. Yeah. What did the defense do to regroup and then go out there and put the great effort together?
I thought they locked arms, you know what I mean? I just thought they supported each other both verbally and physically. And I think that was a big key. I mean, everybody has guys. If people look at us, they start with Sam Linares and Mike Malave, and you go down the list. Everybody has guys, and Towson certainly has their share of them. And Finn, for starting with 44, Finn Sullivan really stepped up and did a great job behind the goal, helping out, doing what he does, and then Michael Diener doing a really good job of controlling from the inside and shutting down, what they like to jam it inside to Max Suskind. So, and Chris did his job with, shots outside of 12 and 13 to step up to the other guys up top. So they did it together.
Throughout the year, you and I have pretty much been having these conversations, and we've talked about how sometimes on the stat sheet and sometimes on the game sheet, when the final score is said and done, you guys played as great as you did, but the result didn't go your way.
Right.
Now, having gotten the win, do you feel as though that was the most complete win and that the result showed?
I do. I mean, again, you go back to that game, and you go back to a couple of games that we didn't win on the scoreboard. If you covered up the score, we thought we played well enough to win. It just didn't work out that way. And, that's what I think made this game really special. And you add the Chris Selva thing in on it. Our backs were against the wall, and, that win down there gave us, a little bit of a valve to release a little bit of the weight that was on our shoulders, only for, a few minutes to enjoy it, knowing that we're in a must-win situation coming up this week.
Now, let's talk about this week's scenarios and everything that can obviously happen. We in the media obviously have a bunch of different things we could throw at you in order to get what you want, but the only thing you need to know, and the only thing I'm sure you do know, is win and you're in. You control your own destiny. There's an opportunity for you to be the 1 seed if things fall right, a 2 seed at least, but you take on Fairfield. They have the newcomer to the conference, but you played them well the last couple of years. What do you expect to see from the Stags?
Yeah, we'll leave all those scenarios up to you guys and have fun with it and do all that stuff. There's one scenario: win and in, lose and go home, and that's the only scenario that we're looking at. However, anything else falls out, that's out of our control. We just have to be able to control what we can control, and that's playing as fast, as simple, as loose as we can come Friday night up in Fairfield.
What do you think the scouting report is for that team now?
Yeah, I mean, they got a couple of seniors on offense that are playing very well. They're putting some points on the board. They got a freshman at the faceoff X that has been the rookie of the week. I think 4 or 5 weeks now, and doing pretty well. And the kid Fox, they got a goalie. They had a goalie change, I think, due to an injury, and their backup goalie. They were in a situation like us that they have 2 quality goalies. And the second guy has played, if not better than the first guy that they went at it, and they do a good job defensively. Andy Copeland does a good job up there. They're at full strength. We're hopeful that we can get some of our guys back and as healthy as we can possibly be on Friday, and be a battle and playing for our lives.
What are you going to reevaluate this week in practice?
Nothing right now. We just got to make sure that we just take a step forward from Towson and go from there. We're going to look at some of the Towson film and see what we didn't do well, and make sure that we watch a ton of Fairfield film and see what their tendencies are. And again, when we get up there, the scouting report's probably going to be thrown out because we're just going to have to play Hofstra lacrosse. We got to play smart. I mean, sometimes, and we told the team yesterday, playing hard isn't good enough anymore. You got to play hard, but you also got to play intelligent.
Finally, Coach, what it really comes down to is you're playing meaningful lacrosse on the last day of the season. Is that all you can ask for?
I mean, our initial goal this year was to be in the CAA tournament and to win the CAA tournament. If you look back at the twists and turns and peaks and valleys of this year, we've gotten what we've asked for. We've gotten a chance to play in the CAA tournament. We just need to win to get in, and then we'll see what happens after that. We just got to play well to get that win. Fairfield's a very good team.
Coach, thanks as always for the time. Hofstra Pride Men's Lacrosse takes on Fairfield this Friday, not Saturday, Friday at 7 o'clock up in Fairfield, Connecticut. You can obviously follow along on GoHofstra.com. Once again, I'm Julian Coltree. He's Seth Tierney. Thanks for watching the WB Mason Coaches Report.